Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is a comparison snapshot video of the Bauer Vapor 1X compared to the Bauer Supreme 2S Pro. So again, this one is just a demo set, so the graphics aren't the same and all the materials aren't quite the same as the final version, but I'll go over the two and just kind of show the differences and give you the difference of why you might pick a 1X compared to a 2S. So first of all, they're very different hand positions. So hopefully this kind of shows up right here. The Vapor's hand is much lower on the board. You can kind of see how the fingers protrude past the board itself, where the Supreme's is much higher on the board, which means when you're actually wearing the glove, this one, the blocker kind of feels like it's balanced right here, where the Supreme it's a little bit lower. The benefits to being a little bit lower is when you're trying to make a save on your pad, your hand actually covers lower than it would higher. So I think kind of the idea besides balance is that if it was up a little bit higher, your arm is kind of already covering that. When your stick is here, and this will kind of cover the gap between the top of your pad and your arm. So it's a little bit easier to get lower shots because your blocker is kind of already down there. Whereas when you wear this one, it really does sit higher on your hand and the blocker board comes up higher. But again, it's a balancing, so you kind of have to figure out which one you like more. I think showing the fingers does a good job of showing really the differences there, where that finger is far below the board and this one is not below the board. So personal preference, I like both these gloves a lot. I was really used to a Reactor 6000 glove, so this one's kind of more what I'm used to, but I really do like the lower blocker board on this one too, to the point where I think I might buy one of these gloves on the side to be one of my everyday gloves. It's a possibility, it might not happen, but it's a very good glove in that sense. Now the palm materials. Bauer is doing a more traditional material way with the Supreme 2S. I think this is kind of a step backwards, but I'll cover that in the review. Again, there'll be reviews of both of these and a review of the 2S set in the near future. This is just kind of a comparison between the two. So this is more traditional Nash palm, as you can see, and this one is more, I can't remember exactly what this is called, but this was on a lot of their player gloves. It's kind of a hybrid, I'm not going to say hybrid, but it's a more tech-new feature or material, and it feels a bit thinner, but it still feels very, very soft, and I find it pretty good for moisture wicking. If you look at the back, you can also see that's the same material in the padding on top of the palm right here, or the backhand right here, which I'm a huge fan of. So it's basically personal preference. If you want that a more traditional feel of the Nash, it does feel a bit thicker, and compared to the thinner feel of the Vapor. With that said, I found this palm to be more bunched up than this one. This one definitely plays tighter to the hand. Again, maybe this is built for a little bit bigger hands, but it just does feel a little bit loose and a little almost not as tight. It's a little bit sloppy in that regards. The finger protection is very good on both gloves. As you can see, it's pretty much the same. There's slight differences in how, as you can see, these parts are separated here. The finger protection on the new Bauer gloves is fantastic. They did a really good job with that. So I'm a huge fan of both these gloves in that regard. And the one nice thing about the Vapors, it does have that pillow padding on the thumb right here, where the Supreme does not. And as you can kind of put it on the side, you can see that the Supreme's blocker, thumb piece right there is a little bit thicker and more rounded than the Vapors, but the Vapor does have that pillow on the inside for that added protection there. The sideboards, as you can do it so it's the right way up, are very different in the way that they're built. So the Vapor has a thicker blocker board, as you can see, compared to the Supreme, and you can kind of see that based on here, where the blocker board does take up some of that space right here, and then you have the kind of inside protection where this one's all just one hard piece. So this could be one of the reasons why Bauer didn't put the pillow in there as well. This is a very hard piece of curve, and you can feel it where the Vapor moves a little bit. The Supreme does not at all. Index finger protection. I'm a huge fan of my old Reactor 6000s, but I have to say the Supreme is better. This piece right here, along with this piece, never interfered with my stick at all, but does seal it up really well. Even when I cut this one down to kind of get you can see the duct tape, because it was getting interfered on the stick. Even after I cut that down, it still doesn't slide as well as this one does on stick. So I feel Bauer, not that they went overboard, because I feel this protection's good, but it just doesn't quite work as well as it does on the Supreme. Both have the, as you can see, the binding wear guard right there and right there. As you can see, it's a bit red there from being rubbed up again, so it's a good thing there. So now I'm going to show kind of how the cuff and everything works. So I showed how this was a hard piece of curve, which again I'm a big fan of. This glove does use curve in the board, but the Supreme uses curve in the board as well as right here. It's very hard. Good job on that. The cuffs right here are fairly similar in my eyes. They feel pretty much the same. The Vapor's a little bit stiffer than the Supreme is, but it's not by much. It's not a big difference. This part is fairly different as well, where you got that Aerolite foam versus the Supreme armor right here, which is seen on the pads, the glove, and a bunch of player equipment. Again, they have the exact same wrist strap on both, so they're pretty similar in that regards. The one thing I mentioned previously, and I'll mention again because I think it's kind of important, I really wish Bauer would stop not sharing technologies across the brands. So this one has Aeroflex, this one has the Supreme armor. I think the Aerolite, not Aeroflex. The Aerolite would be useful on this glove, and this one has Poron on the top fingers right here. You can't really feel it, but evidently it is there. Now that would be nice on the top of the fingers here. I feel like these gloves aren't really competing for each other, and I don't think sharing the technologies would be any issue. When I say they're not competing, because they offer a different piece of, or how you hold your blocker, where this one's much lower and this one's much higher, people will put the glove on and kind of know or should feel what they want. And this glove having Poron or this glove having the Aerolite shouldn't pull someone from one side to the other, and it shouldn't be a point of making someone purchase one glove over the other. So I really feel like Bauer should share this tech on the goalie lines. It would just make their products a little bit better, and I feel it doesn't cheapen it out, but I feel like Bauer has an opportunity to make the best gloves on the market and some of the best equipment, but not using that tech across lines is kind of holding them back a bit, and I think it would be really helpful. I feel like this tech, if this foam was used maybe here, or it's just on the fingers, it might make the glove a little bit lighter. Not that lightness is an issue, but it would just be a really nice additional piece of material on the glove that could increase its either feel or lightness or protection, and they don't, just because Supreme always gets Poron and Vapor always gets Aerolite, and that's kind of how it's gone for the player equipment too. So I find both these gloves very, very good. I think Bauer does a really good job with their blockers and their catchers, especially for retail. So I think people should check them out. But this is just a difference video of why they both exist, kind of, and what to look for. Oh, one other final thing I mentioned, the catching glove. The Supreme doesn't really have any of these details like the Vapor does. The Vapor kind of went with a imprint design where it's kind of raised on edges or bumps, and the Supreme doesn't really do that. It's much more flat all the way through. So just that's a Vapor specific feature on that. Both of these punch rebounds out pretty good. Supreme punches out awesome with the curved boards. This one's a little bit more dead, but they're both very good, especially compared to some other brands I've used. So I'm a huge fan of that on the Supreme itself. Alright, so that's it for this comparison video. Make sure you check out the full reviews for these in the future. And if you want comparisons of the pads that's coming, you can check that out on my channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the description. And I hate to say this, but remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and subscribe to me on YouTube. All those links are in the description. Thank you very much, and take it easy.